Hey everybody, welcome back on a Thursday. So a little bit different this week. We're here on a Thursday, but that's because I am away this next couple of weekends doing a Natural Health Revolution event on Saturday. I'm excited about that. The following weekend I'm heading to Toronto. I'm very excited about that. Linda has Brian Biro coming for board breaking, boom. So super extreme focus. So I think that should be really outstanding. And so that's why we changed our schedule here a little bit. So let's just start by reviewing last week. So visualization, that was the big thing that we talked about, and just creating a form of visualization. So how'd you do with that? What form did you choose? And did you commit to it every day? I know that it's easy stuff, but it's hard because you have to actually push yourself mentally to do it. It's kind of funny because sometimes it's actually easier to get people to spend thousands of dollars than it is to them just make a simple mental shift. And so if you did not do visualization last week, then that's the prime example. Is that if you can't get yourself to make a little mental shift, then you're never going to be able to make this effortless. And so we have to really work on what are some things we can do to be able to create that mental shift. And this is something that I'm continuously studying and learning, and so I'm just going to continually throw different ideas out there to be able to try to help you create that mental shift, because that's really crucial. Once you're able to get your subconscious mind on board with what it is that we're doing and thinking differently, the whole process literally becomes effortless. You don't even have to think about it, it just happens. And it's pretty nice when then you can focus your energy and your attention on something else. So that's why we're doing it. So if you have not done it, I really encourage you to go back in and re-listen to last week and then create your visualization. This is critical for being able to make this whole process effortless. Our mind thinks in pictures, so it's really a big deal. So how about low carb? How did you do with that? For me, that was pretty easy. Because I mostly eat that way anyways, except for yesterday. I went to the dentist on Tuesday, and so my mouth has been sore, and so I made macaroni and cheese yesterday. And so that's, primarily, a carb meal. But other than that, I don't really do a whole lot of carbs, so there's not a huge... it was not a huge shift for me, and that was pretty easy. And as far as visualizations, I do them every day religiously. What I'm learning is that the more clear we can be in that visualization, the faster you achieve what it is you're trying to get at. So that's really key to saying, okay, how are we going to get where we're going? So really make the picture as clear as possible. And as you visualize every day, what you'll find is that picture starts to grow, and it starts to take on almost a life of its own. And that's a really good thing. So, really commit to it. Do it every day from now on. And the only time that you're going to be changing it is as your goals, as you reach your goals, and then your goals progress into different goals. So this week we are going to we're going to start talking about paradigms. So paradigms are basically a group of habits that have been formed. Most of the time they've been formed since we were little. Before we even knew that we were forming habits, the habits were formed. But they kind of rule our life, and they kind of control our values and our belief system. And so the interesting thing about paradigms is that when they're controlled at a really young age, as most of ours are, because it's our parents and grandparents and school system and church system that really is creating all of these rules and beliefs that we have, we're now living our life based on the rules and beliefs that other people have instilled in us. And as we, reach the age of accountability and adulthood, we should really start evaluating what are those beliefs, and do they really align with what we truly want? Because if they don't, then that's when we get into that pattern of frustration. So, from a health perspective, right, we've been aligned. How often as a child was food used as a reward? Or was it used as consoling? You didn't feel good, and so you were given a bowl of ice cream, or you did something great and you were taken out to dinner and dessert, and or it's your birthday, and of course we got the birthday cake and ice cream and cookies. And so I remember for Christmas, I used to love the sprinkles on Friendly's Sundays. And so for Christmas, I get a great big pint-size container of sprinkles. I eat them by the spoonful, right? But these are habits and beliefs that were being instilled in me just as a child. And I didn't know any different. And so then I wonder, why do I start battling with, not eating the things that I want? It's because there's positive memories that then are associated to those things from when I was young, because that's how I was raised. So it's important that we start making that shift. But first we have to identify what they are. What are the actual beliefs that we hold right now that align to the way that we eat and to the way that we maintain our health? Our overall health habits. So it's a good idea to just write down every health habit that you can think of that you do, whether it's you do it thinking consciously or unconsciously. But really, let's just, think about it so that we can start saying, okay, how can we change those health habits and start making the associations with them into a positive associations, so that they're aligned with where we really want to go. But there'll be that internal struggle until we identify what are our current belief systems that we have. Again, most of them we don't even recall developing. They were given to us as we were being raised. Parents, grandparents, school, church, other environments that we may have been involved in. But that's where the bulk of our paradigms and belief systems have come from. So then we have to, now it's our job, we're adults, so it's our job now to say, okay, how can I look at those and see, do they align with, with what I really want to be able to do, or don't they? If they don't align, you're always going to have the struggle. Our goal is to be able to get rid of that struggle, and how we're going to get rid of that struggle is by identifying what are those beliefs that right now are carrying us. Let me see. I want to just give an example of the power of our belief systems that we have. So this was an interesting statistic that I heard a few years ago, and I've heard it several times since then. But 97% of people who win the lottery actually go back to or below their annual income range within 3 years of winning the lottery. Doesn't that sound crazy? But it has to do with an internal set point of what they believe that their worth is. And this is either something that they created themselves as they got a job and were at wherever they were at, or something that somebody else gave them as a belief of what their worth system was. I mean, maybe they were raised believing that you can never earn more than $50,000 a year, and that's what the average middle class income earns. And so then if they have that belief system, then all of a sudden having this more money, their subconscious mind is going to kick in and bring them back to the point where they are at or below that $50,000 a year. And so the only way to change that is to change the internal set point. But first you need to be aware that it exists, because if you don't, it's happening on a subconscious level you never even know. It's the same thing with our weight. So if I believe my goal is to weigh somewhere around 175 pounds, I'm not hard and fast on the number. I'm hard and fast on the health and things that I can do and what I want to be able to, accomplish. And I feel that that's probably a good weight for me to be able to accomplish those things. So I think of myself at that weight all the time. And I think of myself, visualizing myself being able to do the things that I want to do. Y'all know that I'm striving to become a black belt in karate. And I think about what health do I need to be at in order to be able to accomplish that and to be able to achieve that goal. So if I think of myself, at a much higher weight, then there's a conflict, right? Why is it that I've released weight and then I've gained it back and released it and gained it back? Because there's a set point That's 100 pounds greater than that I have lived by for many, many, many years. And so I have to reset that set point. And so first I have to become aware that the set point exists. And then next I have to be able to say, okay, what can I do to reset that set point in my mind so that I can then take the steps that I need to take moving forward, so that my mind has a new set point that it's aligning to, and that and as I change that set point, I'm able to then shift where I'm going. And once my subconscious mind knows a new set point, it becomes a whole lot easier. So over the past year, I have released more than 50 pounds, right? I have not counted calories. I eat in a way that makes me feel good. And I concentrate on that pleasure of how I feel, and I have associated pain with not eating the good foods. And so what do we want to do as humans? We want to avoid pain and we want to gain pleasure. So really the strength in being able to realign our paradigms and our set points is associate pain with the bad habit. However it is you need to do that, associate pain with it and associate pleasure with the good habits. And as long as we keep those so that pain is with the bad habits and pleasure is with the good habits, then just intrinsically, naturally, we're going to go and try to be able to do those things that are going to bring us pleasure and avoid pain. It's a win-win, and then that makes the whole journey a whole lot easier. So that's really the whole thing with our paradigms and our beliefs, and being able to understand those and how they relate to the steps that we are taking.